And thanks for being there. And we begin this segment with the supplementary elections in BAYELSA State. The Independent National Electoral Commission in BAYELSA State has started the distribution of sensitive election materials to the local government areas. The first to receive the materials was a Keremo local government area, where movement to other 6 local government areas will continue tomorrow and in the early hours of the 9th of January 2016. Julia Sunny has that details.
The Resident Electoral Commissioner INEC BAYELSA State, Mr. Barito Pagi, received the election materials at INEC premises in Yenagoa. Speaking to NTA News, the head of Department Electoral Operations INEC, Mr. Victor Agbawanete, said the commission had earlier dispatched non-sensitive materials to the 7 local government areas where the supplementary governorship election is expected to hold. They include Southern Ijaw local government area, Yenagoa, Brass and Ekeremo. Others are Nembe, Ogbe and Sagbama local government area of BAYELSA State. He said INEC will commence the distribution of sensitive materials to the local government areas by tomorrow.
On Friday, our materials will start to move to the local government areas and the registration areas.
Some party representatives comment.
We have seen the cartons that were brought down. They are arranged in various local governments. And our hope is that these are the materials.
They've delivered them now. You look at them now. You two witnessed it now. They are here. Look at them here. And we have all expected the material, and we're also happy that all the party agents are also here to also expect the material.
Security has been tightened within and around INEC in preparation for the election. In Yenagoa, Julia Sunny, NTA News.
On Saturday, in affected areas of the state, candidates of participating political parties are expecting their supporters and the electorate to avoid actions that will jeopardize credible outcome of the exercise. Patrick Essien reports.
The governorship election in BAYELSA State on the 5th and 6th of December 2015 was inconclusive because of reported cases of violence and irregularities. There was threat to life of the officials and election materials, leading to a cancellation of the exercise in some affected units and entire southern Ijaw local government area of the state. In the light of this, candidates of the participating political parties are expecting the electorate and especially their supporters to give peace a chance to conduct a free, fair and credible election in the affected areas. They noted that it is only in the atmosphere of peace that the electorate can vote in the candidate of their choice.
Everyone in this state knows that my party and I are campaigning peacefully on issues. Community after community after community, we are talking about peace and stability. And the candidate and we are the party working for peaceful goals.
Job prospect is diversifying the economy and making sure that other companies actually set up in BAYELSA. And that cannot happen unless there is peace. So we're going to definitely start with the peace infrastructure, enforce law and so on.
In the area of tourism, we are going to ensure that we create massive jobs for our people.
Taking into consideration the terrain of BAYELSA State, it is only in a violence-free environment that progress and development can thrive. From Yenagoa, Patrick Essien, NTA News.
And still on the supplementary election in BAYELSA State, guest on Good Morning Nigeria, NTA's current affairs program, have again appealed to key players in BAYELSA elections to demonstrate true spirit of sportsmanship during the forthcoming supplementary elections in the state. They also want security operatives to be more proactive in the discharge of their duties. Salihu Abdullahi has the report.
Representative of the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and that of the police were optimistic that there will be positive change in the forthcoming supplementary elections in BAYELSA State based on the preliminary assessment of the identified high-risk areas. Deputy Inspector General of Police Leroy Wakama expressed confidence that a new security mechanism is already in place to undermine the activities of militants.
We've gathered a lot of intelligence. We've worked with other security agencies, etc. So far, the information we've gotten back from our gentlemen there, the personnel there, is that all is calm and quiet.
Director of Voter Education of INEC, Oluwale Osaze Uzi, says logistics will not be a challenge as the Commission had already concluded arrangements for direct delivery of electoral materials across the registration area centers in affected areas.
This time around, I think all eyes on Bayelsa, they do realize that, as Professor Egu said, look, it's your state.
A professor of political science, Sam Egu, emphasized the need for Nigerians to build on the democratic culture and intensify civic and political education.
We have to squarely put responsibility on the heads of the political class. The strength of armed non-state actors is something that is very frightening. And if you look at the philosophy of election policing, police would not carry weapons, and then you are confronting, people who are heavily armed.
The guests were unanimous that it is the responsibility of Bayelsans to ensure the success of the forthcoming supplementary elections in the state. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News. A bit on the political scene now, the Independent National Electoral Commission in Bayelsa State says accreditation and voting for the supplementary governorship election on Saturday will hold simultaneously between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Correspondent Julia Sonny, who has been giving us update from INEC Secretariat in Yenagoa, has more.
Fundamentally, there is a development about the elections, and that was the resolution of the meeting that was held between the Commission and the 20 political parties that contested the election yesterday. And we reviewed a whole lot of things on the way forward for us to have a smooth election on Saturday, the 9th of January 2016. And part of the resolution was that because of the security threats across the state, it was resolved that the accreditation of voters and the voting itself should be done simultaneously. That is to say that after the accreditation, you don't need to waste time for voting. After the accreditation, you go ahead and do your voting. And accreditation, as usual, will start by 8 o'clock, and the voting itself, the election itself, will end by 2 p.m. But anybody that is already on the queue waiting for his or herself a vote to be cast, that person that is already on the queue will be allowed to vote. Any other person apart from that 2 p.m. will not be allowed to be on the queue.
Mr. Warowe said the decision by the Independent National Electoral Commission to simultaneously conduct accreditation and voting in all the polling units at this Saturday's supplementary governorship election in Bayelsa State is to further safeguard the lives of the citizenry. He therefore called on all Bayelsans to come out en masse to exercise their franchise. Meanwhile, INEC has continued the distribution of election materials to the remaining 6 local government areas. They are Southern Niger with the majority of voting units, Nembe, Brass, Yenagoa, Ogbea and Sagbama local government areas of Bayelsa State. In Yenagoa, Julia Sani, NTA News.
In the meantime, security agencies have mobilized to beef up security in Bayelsa State in preparation for the election tomorrow, Saturday. Commandant, Nigerian Civil Security and Civil Defense Corps, Bayelsa State, Desmond Agu, says 1,500 personnel have been deployed to the areas where election will be held. Nkemije reports.
The 1,500 personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps are deployed to 7 local government areas where the supplementary governorship election will be held. With the areas covering both land and water, the NSCDC Commandant, Mr. Desmond Ago, said the early deployment is a strategy aimed at providing adequate security for activities concerning the election. Mr. Ago says the personnel have been adequately armed to ensure a hit-free pool in the state. He directed officers to adhere strictly to instructions in order to do their job effectively.
Don't allow yourself once again to be bought by any politician, and don't attach yourself to anybody. And again, we're not deploying you there to go and die. I'm deploying you to go and do your job and come back.
The commandant further said the NSCDC is working in synergy with other security agencies to forestall any breach of law and order, urging all actors to be law-abiding. The police, on their part, is also set for the election.
The security agencies will work hand in hand. The synergy between the security agencies will not give room for miscreants to perpetrate all forms of crimes during the elections.
A large percentage of the 1,500 officers of the NSCDC are deployed to southern Ijaw, where there will be a fresh election in the entire local government area. Keeping surveillance and protecting facilities in their primary area of deployment for the Nigeria Civil Defense Corps BAYELSA State Command is their watchword as regards the January 9 supplementary election in BAYELSA State. From the NSCDC State Command headquarters here in Yenagoa, I am Nkem Ije, NTA News.
Still in BAYELSA, southern Ijaw local government area occupies about 30% of the entire landmass of BAYELSA State and has an estimated population of over 300,000 people. The local government is known for its rich deposit of crude oil and gas as well as other natural resources. It is, however, a hotbed of politics with a voter population of 120,000. Paul Omukago examines what makes the local government tick.
Southern Ijaw local government area was created in 1991 from Yenegua under the Old River State. With a voting strength of over 120,000, the people are fully involved in the politics of the state. They are friendly, hospitable, and very enterprising. In addition to the primary occupation of fishing and farming, they have also carved a niche for themselves in canoe carving, wrestling, swimming, and diving. The local government has been at the forefront of political history of the Old River State and present-day BAYELSA State. There are 17 wards, 425 polling units, and 3 voting points for this Saturday's governorship election in Southern Ijaw. Besides its rich mineral and natural resources, the local government area has huge tourism potentials due largely to the topography of the area.
They don't like oppression, marginalization.
Well, in the very recent past, Southern Ijaw has witnessed violence in elections. It's not a good image for our local government area. And I think elections should be peaceful and there is no reason for antagonism towards one another.
If you have Southern Ijaw, you have your victory in BAYELSA State. It's a teeming ground for every politician.
We have 4 constituencies. As of assembly, we have 4. It's because of the size and the voting strength.
Southern Ijaw local government area is also known to have a fertile soil for large-scale rice farming. The local government produced the first executive governor of BAYELSA State in the person of late Chibdieprie Alamesia. It has benefited from successive government in the area of political appointment and has prominent stakeholders on the major parties contesting in this Saturday's election. Probably the reason for the strong contention in the area. In Yenegua, Paul Omukago, NTA News.
Happy Sunday, Becky. Hello, Nigeria, and thank you for taking our time to join us tonight on the news. We'll begin with the results of the BAYELSA State governorship election as the chief returning officer of BAYELSA State supplementary governorship election, Professor Zana Akboga, has declared Governor Henry HSDickson of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as the winner of the governorship election that began on the 5th of December 2015. Timothy Yusuf has the report.
The local government coalition officers took their turn to present their results. The coalition officer for Yenagoa local government area says APC polled 448 votes, PDP 839 votes, PDM 3 votes. That for Brass local government area announced that APC scored 1,679 votes, PDP 5 votes, PDM 12 votes. For Sagbama local government area, the coalition officer says APC polled 119 votes, PDP 180 votes, PDM 1 vote. And for Ogbea local government area, APC scored 139 votes, PDP 1,290 votes, and PDM 4 votes. For Nimbe local government area, the collation officer announced 1,400 votes for APC, 1,160 for the PDP, and 12 votes for PDM. Ekeremo local government area's collation officer says APC polled 257 votes, PDP 2,695, while PDM scored 10 votes. When the long-awaited Southern Ijaw local government area results finally arrived at the collation center, APC polled 10,216 votes, PDP 23,081 votes, PDM 108 votes. The chief returning officer of the election, Professor Zana Akpagu, then merged the supplementary election result with that earlier held on December 5, 2015. In all, APC polled a total of 86,852 votes, while PDP scored 134,998 votes.
Dickson Henry Seriake of PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the President of the Senate, Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, has lamented reports of violence and deaths trailing the rescheduled governorship election in Southern Ijaw local government area of Bayelsa State. In a statement, the Senate President said it is unacceptable that an election meant to produce a governor for the state was turned into a theatre of war with attendant loss of lives and destruction of properties. He called on security agencies already mobilized to the state to quickly restore peace while urging them to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book.
Ese Oruru, the teenage girl who was abducted from Yenugua, the Bayelsa state capital, to Kano, has finally returned home. She arrived in Yenugua amidst tight security and was allowed to see her parents. Samuel Omenengi has the report.
The atmosphere at the police officer's Mercy Yenugua was tense as journalists gathered, alerted by the girl's father, to receive her at about 8 p.m. Ese Oruru, abducted and taken to Kano State about 7 months ago, arrived the venue escorted by policemen. However, the anxious waiting journalists yielded little as zealous policemen prevented them from taking shots of her. Bayelsa State Police Commissioner Peter Ogunyawo, who later spoke to reporters, said she will undergo some medicals before finally being handed over to her parents.
She's in Bayelsa, and she's right where you are now, and hale and hearty. We are just trying to see how we can cancel her.
A visit to Ese Oruru's family house and mother's shop same night witnessed family members, well-wishers, and neighbors in groups, perhaps, discussing the issue. By Thursday morning, the area was quiet, as people had gone back to their normal businesses, perhaps relieved that at least the girl who appeared withdrawn had returned home. In Yenugua, Samuel Numenengi, NTA News.